Hey, Tom. Oh my God, it's so great to see you. I have been wanting to get you on this show for so long. If I get a cancellation, I've been like texting you over and over and over going, can you come on this date? You're like, you already asked me that. I'm like, okay. So anyways, I think we did get you on earlier, right? We
We
got you.
did.
Yeah.
We did. Yeah.
Because what you have to, you were just so awesome when we had our pre-interview and it was so much fun. I was like so excited, and I just was like, oh God, everything you were talking about, I was into, and everything you were saying was like right on. So I felt like you were like my brother or twin.
Right. Yeah.
So go ahead and tell us about yourself and where to find you. I know you have your own podcast, right?
Live stream. Yeah. Live
Okay,
stream.
live stream. Oh, okay. So go ahead and let's start.
I appreciate it. Well, yeah. My name is Tom Springer, as always said, and I have my own live stream. So that means people have to look at this wonderful beard every time I do a show. My show is actually called Stuff I Never Learned from the School Book, and it's on Facebook, YouTube, as well as Twitch. And it's only been running for not quite a year yet, but it was created because I very recently came into abilities, psychic abilities, mediumship, and a lot of other type of abilities at a older age. I'm 50 right now, and I came into it when I was 49. So
Right,
I
right.
it was much later than a lot of people's. Um, but I realized quickly that there wasn't a place for a lot of people to come to talk and interact and ask questions if you're new.
Right.
So I decided to build a live stream where people can come and ask questions, and then I can also bring on experts or people. They like to say that they're still developing, but more advanced than we are.
Yeah.
That can come on and help ask help answer questions that new people may be asking. Just general questions like, how do I clear my chakras? What do I do even to start understanding my chakras? All these different questions.
Yeah, and I absolutely love that because it's not staged, okay?
Right.
And you're a lot like me. Different, of course,
Right.
than mine. But I love that fact, and you said it so fast. First, on where do they find you? Can you go slower?
Sure. Sorry about that. I am a quick talker because I'm actually a briefer. I'm an instructor for my outside of this job, so I'm used to talking fast. But so my show is Stuff I Never Learned from the School Book, and it's
Stuff
on
I never learned from school book.
from a school
Facebook.
book. Yes.
Face.
It's on Facebook. So it's facebook.com/Stuff I Never Learned from the School Book. All is one word. Ooh,
Right.
that's a long. On YouTube, it's youtube.com/at Stuff I Never Learned. All is one word.
Okay.
And on Twitch, it's twitch.tv/Stuff I Never Learned.
Okay, so Mr. Busy Man, how in the hell do you have time to do all this?
I am terrible at time management, so I just kind of throw them all in wherever I can. I actually set aside. I'm very, very good about setting aside Monday nights to do my show.
Okay, so you're like me then. You're like
Yeah,
me.
I
Okay.
do a Monday nights at 7 p.m. Central.
Okay.
Every once in a while, I have on guests who can't come on Mondays because their shows are on Mondays as well, just like mine. That's where it gets tricky. But I always find a way to manipulate my schedule to be able to allow them to come on another night
Well,
because I want to give them the advertisement, the publicity, the respect, the whatever that they've earned or that they've requested just by coming on and sharing their information. If they're going to share it, I'm going to find a way to make sure that they can share it.
yeah, and that's what I was telling you. I said, I want you to come on and I want this show to be about you.
Right.
I'm not going to sit here and have, my pen and paper out or look down and say, okay, this is what I'm going to talk about. These are the 4 questions.
Right.
You're,
And I
yeah,
do the same thing.
right. I know. That's what I love
On my
about it.
show, people ask me, and that's what's funny because people ask me, they're like, "Why don't you do canned questions?" And I said, because it's
I
not real.
I know. I
To
know.
me, when I ask my audience member or my guest a question, I want to be just as surprised as the audience is when I get that answer.
Exactly.
Because it
Right.
leads me to a whole new set of other questions that I may not have thought of or even anticipated if it was a canned
Totally. Or something you don't know about, or something you
right,
know about, which can lead into who knows what. So
right,
I know we're talking about the elemental, interdimensional
right.
travel and all that. Let's go into that. And
Okay,
why don't you start wherever your heart desires?
okay. Well, I will let people know first off that, again, I only started developing abilities a little over a year ago. And one of my abilities that I awoke to was the fact that I can see, hear, and talk to elementals just like I'm seeing, hearing, and talking to you right now.
Okay,
And
what, excuse me, what's an elemental? No one knows what that is.
that's great. I was just about to say that. You're reading my mind.
I cut you off. Oh, I always have so much fun with you. Okay. All right. Go ahead.
Elementals are elementals are known to many different types of cultures, but the one that I tie to the most, I actually tie to two really well. I tie to the Native American or Indigenous persons elementals, which is fire, water, wind, earth. And I also tie to the Norse elementals really well, which are the same things, but they look different. Or they respond different. Even though they're the exact same thing, based off the different cultures, they have their own personalities or what they're used for, what their purposes are.
Right.
And
Okay. So
so,
give us a few
for
examples.
instance, I will. You are in my head,
Okay, I know that's why we click so well,
right?
and
I know you're anticipating what I'm going to
oh
say.
my
Because
god, okay, I'm
this
gonna
is
shut up.
brilliant.
I'm gonna shut
That's
up.
good.
Okay, I'm gonna
No,
shut up.
I want you to do this because if I forget, you're my trigger to remind me.
Okay,
So,
okay,
ask the questions.
I'm gonna try to shut up. Okay, here we go.
So elementals inherently are not good or bad. They are just here. Depending on how you treat the land, the air, the water, anything else, will react how they're going to react to you. If you are
Okay.
negative to the earth, if you're tearing up the earth, but you're not healing the earth or anything else, an earth elemental will be very bad. It will be very detrimental, and they can hurt people. They are gargantuan. At least the earth elementals I have seen are gargantuan. They're all huge. Um, the water elementals are the same way. If you're damaging the water supply, they will come after you and do their best to harm you for harming them. So you're
Wow.
basically anything you're doing to help the environment. They are there. That's what their job is. If the earth is torn up, if it's torn down or whatever else, the earth elemental's job is to heal the earth.
Okay,
The
we're having a
air,
serious problem with that right now.
oh, we are.
Okay, I mean, we're
That
in crisis mode.
Oh yeah, I know, and it's affecting quite a bit. I let me tell you, I can feel it, and I've actually experienced it a little bit. I had an issue where someone is it's even the smallest things will set one off. I had somebody who had refinished a home, but they did not refinish the basement completely. So half of the basement was done, the other half was just left in shambles for dirt. And the person who moved into the house was feeling very anxious and very scared. And
Wow.
I had to go in there to talk to the elemental. First, I had to figure out what it was, so I realized it was an earth elemental. And I had to have a discussion with him explaining that the person who lived there now was not the one who had done this. And the person who was there now was willing to help try to fix the earth and just basically be on a good terms with the elemental because the elemental was so overwhelming and it was
What?
scary.
Yeah. So what was it doing to this guy, or what was going on with his house?
She just felt anxious and fearful all the time. Like she just felt like something in her house was just trying to push her out. And it was just,
Ew.
and that's what it is, Lord. It's just a feeling that
Right.
she had that she was just in fear of
Sure.
being home.
Right.
So the way it worked is I went downstairs and I walked into the basement and they came with me. There was four other people that came with me, her and her family members, and I kept them in the side of the basement that was finished, and I walked through the other side where it was just dirt.
Uh-huh.
And the elemental actually ran from me when I entered the room, and he
Wow.
and he said, "I am afraid of you because your essence is older than I am. And
Wow.
I said, okay, so you understand what I'm here for and who I am? And he said, yes. And I explained what was going on, and he said, well, I can push you out of this house. And he was threatening me. And because he wasn't sure really who I was, so I literally thrust my hands into the dirt that he was on, and I said, feel how strong I am, and notice you cannot get rid of me, but I can get rid of you.
Wow.
And then we came to compromise. Then he was like, okay, there's more of me than there is of you. We can take you out. And I go, there is only one elemental in this house, and I know exactly where you are because I can see you. Do you want to reconsider? And he threw rocks at me, and the rocks went flying by me and out into the other area where everyone else was standing.
Oh my God.
They were like, what was that? I'm like, he just threw rocks at me to try to get me to leave. And
Right.
further conversation had him decide he wanted to compromise. And it was a very simple compromise. She brings down flowers, she brings down like rice and grain.
Oh,
And just kind
really?
of it's almost just like to make the place better. It's more
Sure.
an earth offering than it is anything else. Because he's trying to heal the earth. And if she brings down earth things that will help basically make it look better, make it heal better, make it feel better for him, he was respectful of that, and he really backed off. And she tells me every day now that her and this elemental get along great. She knows he's still there, but he is such a calming presence now.
Well,
And
that's absolutely amazing. It sounds like the same thing, like if you're going, like for me, anyways, going and helping someone with a ghost or some
right,
demon that's
yep,
screwing up their place, and I do the same thing. You
yep,
give them an offering always. Okay,
right,
even when I did TV at my TV show, it was like you always give them an offering.
right.
So it's kind of the same thing, but
It
just
is.
with a spirit rather than you tapping into more of the elementals, which is very strange. I've got to tell you, I've never interviewed anybody on this subject.
Okay.
That's just amazing. It's
So
amazing.
I've walked properties, and you'll notice if you ever walk locations, there's a property I walk that is all farmland, and they have an underground water system. And you can walk that entire system, but you'll come across one area, regardless, summer, winter, fall, spring, it doesn't matter. That area is always constantly colder, always.
Wow. Wow.
That's where an elemental is.
Okay.
That's where they're taking care of the water supply at that location.
Wow.
It does
Okay.
not matter where we walk on this property. If I walk across this property, it's 100 degrees out at that section. It's 90, 80 degrees. It's always colder right there at this one location. And you can draw it out. You can chalk it on the ground, like use a spray chalk, and
Right.
it will always be that same area every single time you walk through it.
That's amazing. Okay, so this is what you're doing with the elementals. You're helping other people that have problems
I've
with.
helped the people that have problems. I actually, someone I know has an elemental as one of their spirit guides.
Oh
She
wow.
she has a fire elemental, but she cannot see it.
Okay.
And it was in a very interesting conversation. I explained to her what her elemental looked like, and she goes, "Why can you see my elemental and I can't, or my spirit guide and I can't?" And I said, "Because it's an elemental." And she's like, "But I can't see it." I go, "You're not meant to, but I am."
Right.
So I explained to her what the elemental looked like, what it was doing, because she gets the symbols and the imagery from it of what it's
Yeah.
trying to tell her, but I actually get the words it's telling her.
Yeah.
Uh, so I can actually, there's no need for trying to figure out what a symbol is and interpret it. It's talking to me directly, just like me and you are talking right now.
Yeah. And I mean, this is so weird that this happened just a year ago. That
Yeah,
all of a sudden, just you,
all of my abilities just showed up a year ago, and
just
there's so many of them right now that it's just incredible. And I don't understand why I was chosen, or why I decided to awaken at this time, and what
yeah.
I was lucky enough to get what I'm getting, and I'm still growing it, but I'm figuring out. So
So okay, so you're dealing with these elementals then,
yeah,
and then now that's really interesting because that has a lot to do with Mother Earth. Okay.
Yes.
And we know that we're in a lot of problems with that.
Yep.
Tom, I mean, I've had so many people that come on that say that this, planet, we're going into a 12,000 year cycle. And because we've overdone it. What's your theory on that as far as I'm getting nothing but negative?
This planet, everyone needs to understand that everything on this planet is living, regardless of what it is. Everything is on this planet is living. The largest living organism on this planet. Everyone talks about the connection of the trees in the one certain location where they're all connected. The largest living thing on this planet is the planet itself. And guess what? It will not die. It will not allow itself to die. We can strip out everything we want, but the planet itself will decide when it wants to take back over, when it's had enough, and it will be up and running and green and beautiful
Yeah.
and everything else long after we're gone.
Right.
It may take
Yes.
some time to regenerate, but we are not going to outlive the creatures that are taking care of it.
Okay. Well, that's
but we're not going to.
that's
Figure it put through everything.
that's what I'm getting, and it's called the 12,000 year cycle. When
Yep.
it's like when Noah. Okay, I'm not going to get into the Noah thing. Okay, and then the next the dinosaurs, and then we can go into all of that stuff right there, right?
Right.
That the Earth has been cleansed. So it sounds like from what you've been telling me, that process may happen.
It may. I do not see a catastrophe for the entire Earth for quite some time.
Okay.
I think we're going to get to a point to where it's really going to be the Earth itself that says, no, I'm done supplying for you. I'm going to start regenerating, and it will decide how it does it. We don't have a say in this. We're just here to live off the land, and we're not doing it correctly. So it's going to force us to learn how to do it correctly, or we're just going to perish.
Oh yeah, exactly.
So there's no middle ground there.
Right. So
the Earth has the Earth is a very loving Earth, but the Earth also has a very much if it's you or me, I'm going to be the one to survive method. It's
right, exactly. Now, what's this thing with interdimensional travel? Okay.
So interdimensional travel.
I mean, is that like I believe in that? Okay. I believe that there's like, let's just say Bigfoot. Okay, I believe that that's an interdimensional being. Okay, is that the same thing as what you're talking about, interdimensional travel? I mean, are you doing this, or what concept is that?
There's a lot of different things that fall under interdimensional, dimensional, or multidimensional travel. They're all listed under a bunch of different names, and they all mean the same thing. We've all heard the cases of a lady was basically going home to. She's been to this area so many times, to her hometown, and she was going back to visit, and she drove the exact same way she always has, and when she got to the town, it was totally different. Everything looked exactly the same, but the people were not people anymore. They were different beings. And she had to wrap her head around what she was seeing. And at one point she got chased. And when she got out of the city limits, everything kind of reverted back to normal. But when she went back into the town, everything was back to normal. It's almost like she had a time slip in another parallel universe at that point. Right. So I need to explain to people, interdimensional travel is how you get from point A to point B. Right. Parallel universes are your destinations at the end of point A and point B. Okay, right. So a lot of people they mix those two up. They think dimensional travel and parallel universes are the same thing. They're not. One's the road you're taking. The other two are the other one is your destinations. Right. Okay, that can be very confusing. So now you're talking about I don't know. Dee just took my notes away, and not my notes. Okay, right. The title of it. Okay, so the interdimensional travel would be the travel to get to the location of the parallel universe. Correct. Okay. Now, let's say I live in Omaha, Nebraska. And I want to drive to Lincoln, Nebraska. Those are my parallel universes.
Okay.
I take Interstate 80 to get there. That's my multidimensional travel.
Okay.
So that's how I get there.
Right. Okay. And so, so have you had these experiences? I mean, obviously you have, where you've gone back in time, or so you're talking like a time machine here, right?
All right, if we're gonna go that way, I have done my best. Zoe, damn it, I have done my best to not go nerd Tom, but you're making me go nerd Tom. So,
I'm so sorry, but
there is two different theories under the law of physics. One is superstring theory, and one is the rational gravitation theory.
okay.
Superstring theory believes that you can, with certain speed, like if I were to get ahead of speed of light, I can actually move, I can advance time, and I can go forward in time.
Okay.
Gravitational theory is a belief, like let's say I'm getting close to a black hole, and I'm not getting pulled into the event horizon, but I'm close enough that I have the gravitational pull, that because the gravitational pull is so great, it's launching me forward in time.
Okay.
But both of them are sending me forward.
Wow. Wow. Wow.
There is a huge question about traveling back in time, if that is something that is even capable of being done. A lot of the studies have identified yes, but then there's also just as many studies that say no. Moving forward is something that we can do because it hasn't happened yet. So to elevate ourselves forward in time, that's possible either through either theory. Going back is something that's already happened.
Right.
So it's hard to time travel backwards, or some people say not even possible to time travel backwards because it already has happened.
Right. Right. Okay. Now, so have you time traveled forward?
I do not time travel. I actually astral travel. That's a totally different thing.
Okay. All right. Yeah, it is completely.
But I have not. But I am that much, and I use this phrase lovingly. I am that much of a nerd. That,
a nerd.
That I have studied.
Oh.
I have. I have. I want to say in all seriousness that one of my other lives has experienced time travel.
Okay.
Me in this form, I have not.
Okay.
Maybe as a starseed or as another being, I have.
Okay.
As I feel in this form that I have at one point. This is why I can explain it and talk about it, because I've done it.
Right.
Outside of just the studying I do and the reading and everything else, I feel I have a personal connection to this because I have done it before.
Okay, so you're talking, it could be like most people would understand it as a past life.
Yeah,
kind of.
It's something if they've experienced it and they're like, man, I really have a strong resonance of what you're talking about. I feel like this is like I've done this before. I feel like I've been somewhere in the future, and this is a lot of the times when you experience your deja vu.
Yeah.
All of a sudden you're like, man, I have been here before. Well, that's very possible that one of your past lives have actually gone to that place before by time traveling.
Right.
But that past life ended before you were actually there, before you got there at that life. So now you're into your new life, which is now, and all of a sudden you're appearing at that place. You're like, man, I had been here before, but I know I've never been here before.
Right, exactly.
That's one of your past lives saying you've been here before, just not as this person or this being.
Yeah, sure. Wow. That's pretty heavy.
It is. Welcome to my brain.
Okay. Yeah. So, okay. So, next subject.
Yeah.
Yeah. What is it? You tell me. I'm trying to be quiet over here. I don't. It's not easy for me to do with you, but I will try to.
If we're gonna talk dimensions, let's talk the fact that there's 10 different dimensions.
Okay.
I personally believe there are more. I believe we will find up to 60. But right now they're saying that there are 10. Okay. And when I say they, I'm talking scientists and great minds and everything else. That there are 10. And we know basically the 1, 2, and 3 dimension. First dimension is the horizontal plane, you're just drawing a line. So it's just a straight line. Second dimension is when you draw a box, but there's no depth to it.
Right.
Third dimension is you draw the cube. Well, that's your third dimension. And then your fourth dimension is when you start adding time to things. So this is where the travel starts happening.
Okay.
There are a couple more dimensions that are further up, fifth, sixth, or fifth, sixth, and seventh. I'm sorry, I'm not. I know what they are, but I'm not specific on the numbers. But they basically are dimensions like ours,
Mm-hmm.
um, because we all started with the same understanding of like the Big Bang Theory. They all started off the same way, but now every single one of them has a different path of us.
Wow.
So we're not the same person in those different dimensions, but there's a version of us that exists, and all of the universes started the same way, such as like the Big Bang.
Okay, so it's all going on at once?
Yes, they're
Okay.
all the space between. All right, I'm going to try to see if I can explain this the best way I can. The space between the parallel universes that are or the dimensions, I should say, not really parallel universes, but the dimensions that are traveling are less than the space of a nucleus inside of an atom. They're
Wow.
that together.
Wow.
So this is why you get a lot of cross streams that happen, such as when you see people and you always see these. They look like they're hoaxes out of like Sun magazine or something like that. Where there's this person in the 1950s. It looks like he's holding a cell phone in a black and white picture.
Oh yeah, I've seen that one. I mean, who hasn't, right?
Ever. No one ever sees him again ever. They only caught into that one glimpse of time. Why?
Right.
Because time crossed. We had a time path cross.
Wow.
So one dimension crossed another one at that specific time, and one may be more advanced than we are at that time. So they have that ability to have cell phones when we didn't, because our time wasn't yet to have cell phones.
Right.
So that's why that one picture showed up, because that actually was a time stream cross.
Wow. Okay. You know what this sounds like?
What?
It sounds like the studies they're doing at Johns Hopkins and Mayo Clinic on psilocybin.
Nice. Hey, you're asking the questions. I'm giving you the answers.
No, I really had to say that with that because it was like the perfect timing. I mean, you know, whatever comes to my mind, you know, just comes out. So
yeah, but that's really how close we are to those streams together. It's that close.
Wow.
And the other dimensions, not the final dimension, but the I believe 7, 8, and 9 dimensions. Those are different all aspects. They didn't start with the Big Bang. They started another way, but you're still moving forward in time as we are, and everything is different. Well, everything is different with a lot of similarities, such as they may have the same atmosphere, they may have the same gravitation, they may have the same whatever, but the 10th dimension is the one that is completely different than everybody's.
Wow.
You cannot conceive the concept of what the 10th dimension is, because everything is so different from everything that we know.
Right. Okay. So when you've experienced this, but you said you do this through I'm sorry, out of body experience then?
Through my astral travel?
Yeah, you're astral, right? So this is that you've experienced this through astral travel then.
I've experienced other locations, other universes, and everything else through astral travel.
Right. Okay.
My dimensional knowledge really comes from my past lives.
Okay.
So,
and did you, I mean, to get to where you point, just all of a sudden, did you just know that you have these past lives, or did you have a regression or anything like that?
I have never done a regression. I am not allowed I'm not allowed to do regressions because of what I do for the military right now. I can't do a regression.
Okay.
Just not allowed. But it's something that I, like most things, for some stupid reason in my head, unfortunately, my answer is I don't know. I just know. And that seems to be a lot of things. When I answer a lot of questions for people, there's a voice in my head that says, just start talking, you know the answer. And I know that's my higher selves or my higher beings that are guiding me on what I'm saying.
Yeah, wow.
And when I start to talk, it seems like I am a very much the subject matter expert because so many people go, that's exactly how I feel, or that seems right, or yeah,
Mm-hmm.
that's right. And they're like, how do you know? And my answer always is, I don't know. But I know there is my whatever guides I have, whatever
Sure.
there are, they're telling me, you know this, you've experienced this, you know exactly what you're talking about. Talk about it. For instance, I had a person who came on my show, and asked me, can you tell me anything about the meaning between the colors of the dragons in Asiatic culture? And I said, sure. I've never studied dragons in my life, but I knew what it was. And I said,
Wow.
sure. I said the colors of the dragons in the Asiatic world, the Norse world, are colors of our angels. They're all the same thing. Our blue angel, our Archangel Michael, their blue
Sure.
dragon, all the other blue dragon, they're all protectors.
Right.
You know,
It's just different ways of.
different cultures and the different religions,
Yes. Yes.
but
That's what I was going to
but
say.
I don't care what you want to call it. The one source, whatever else, when it
Yes.
first started,
Right.
we all had the understanding it was all the same thing. And then when all the different cultures and religions started breaking off, for that person to become powerful, they created their own whatever,
Yeah.
but they kept those stories. So instead of calling them angels, they called them dragons, and they
Yeah.
kept the color.
Interesting.
So
Interesting.
so it's always the same thing, no matter where you go. Green dragon, green angel. Yep, that's our healer.
Right.
So
That.
it's always the same thing.
So it's like you're referring to Archangel Raphael then?
Yeah, yep.
Okay. Right. Right. Okay. Okay.
And
I'm on your track.
so,
Okay.
and that's the kind of things that I've never studied, but I know that I'm right when someone asks me those questions, and I can afterwards I can go look, because I've done this a lot of times. I've given an answer, and I'm like, this is the answer, even though I've never studied it. And then afterwards I've gone and looked. I'm like, holy crap, I was right. Woohoo!
Wow.
So
Yeah.
you know, so but I've had to do that a lot, and I've never. If I don't know the answer, I will straight up tell them, I'm sorry, I don't know this. Maybe someone in my audience does, and they can help out.
Yeah.
But if I know it and I know it's true for what I'm feeling in my gut and in my heart and in my head, I'm going to say it.
Well,
And,
yeah, that's what I
and that's
do.
why, with the interdimensional travel, with the parallel universes, um, with my past lives, all that stuff, I'm so confident in it because I know it's right.
Right. Because you feel it.
Right.
Wow.
Yeah.
I mean, okay, so now, so you have your show,
Yep.
and didn't we talk about something paranormal?
we did. We talked about a handful of stuff, but we talked about one of the investigations I went on.
Yeah, and you're just like me. I mean, you don't believe in all that bullshit that they do. So I remember
Well,
that. I mean, we
we
got a long
talked
grade on it.
we talked about the fact that I was with somebody who was possessed, and I had to pull the possession out of them.
Yeah, 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 yeah.
Yeah, we talked about that. If that's what you want me to talk about, I can explain what happened there.
Yeah, yeah. Let's hear about that. I mean, because I just kind of want to flip into just a little bit about why you're so well known. You know what I mean? It's kind of like, okay, we're going like in a circle here.
Yeah, I
And
want
this
you to
is a
know that.
whole nother aspect
Yeah,
of what you do to help people.
right.
Okay. So
I
what the hell happened there?
I was on an investigation with my former team, and we were at an undisclosed location, and we knew there was a portal in the area.
Okay.
I actually went to try to, and I'm just so people know, this space looks like this on purpose because I'm too dumb to know any better, and I'm fearless about anything. So when I felt the portal, I walked right up to it and went to put my hand on it.
Yeah.
I did, and it pushed my hand away. It was like two magnets trying to push together that couldn't. It would not let me touch that portal.
Yeah, I've had experience with portals. Oh my God. I mean, my experience was it was absolutely horrifying.
Yeah.
You know, I could feel every single thing of horror, like almost like being in hell.
Oh yeah.
That I just literally I couldn't handle it. I mean, it was so big. You know, it's really seriously. The room went like 20 degrees down, and all this stuff started happening, and I personally couldn't handle it. I lost it. I lost it on that one.
Yeah,
So,
a couple of our coworkers are paranormal investigators did too.
oh, they did.
They got freaked out pretty bad
Yeah.
and calm them down. Um, but amidst all the chaos, we had someone on our team who channels, but she wasn't supposed to channel, and she just ended up going under on her, kind
Yeah.
of,
That's what
you know,
happens with these damn
unexpected.
portals.
And next thing we know, she is black eyed and she's not her own voice, and she's doing a little giggly thing and everything else, and she's calling other teammates like bitch and stuff like that, and just kind of going after him. And at one point, she looks around and she goes, "I want you." And one person goes, "Who, me?" And she turns and looks right at me and she goes, "No, him."
Ooh, I'm getting like chills.
I went, "Okay."
Yuck.
And I have,
You're
again,
like, oh, okay.
I was like, okay, if I'm the one you want, come get me. And I put my hand on her and I held on to her and I'm like, there's your entrance right there. So you could literally see my arm kind of ripple, and you can see my hair start to move as it was coming into my arm. And as it came up my arm, it got to my shoulder, and I locked it right there. I would not allow it any further in. I actually shut it down at my shoulder, so I had everything in my arm.
Wow.
And I'm like, well, now you're mine, and you can't go anywhere. So I took it outside, and I slammed my fingers to the ground, and I forced it down into the earth.
Wow. Okay.
Out of the earth, and we got her out, and she was throwing up, and it was not normal vomit. It was very discolored and almost like, well, you know what it is.
Oh yeah.
Like everything else, like the slick colors and stuff. And she was out there for quite a while we tried to get her up and running. But she was okay. And then when it was over, someone goes, "How did you know what to do?" And I go, "I just knew." And they said, "But how did you know that you could lock yourself down and you could stop it?" And I go, "I just knew."
Wow.
That's why I wasn't afraid of it. And when I spoke with a shaman friend of mine, and she told me, she goes, "Here's what's going to happen on investigations." She said, lesser spirits, anything else, are going to go after other people on your team because they're not as strong as you. And I went, wait, I'm the newbie.
Right.
I'm confused by that statement.
Yeah.
And she said, no. She goes, wait. She goes, the problem you're going to have on investigations is when these stronger, more experienced spirits or whatever want to challenge, they will no longer want to challenge your team. They're going to want to challenge you.
Wow.
Because you're stronger and they want that battle. And I'm like, okay, I'm fine with that. And I've come across a couple of things, and I'm the one standing here, so I've been okay with it. And I tell people everyone tells you, put a bubble around you for your protection. Everything else.
Yeah.
I don't. Mine is skin tight. Mine is right up against my skin.
Yeah.
It's gold, and it almost looks like a scale armor, but I know that it's impenetrable unless I allow something to come in, because I want that being to come right here, as close as it wants to, and I know that I'm protected because I want to see it, I want to feel it, I want to know what it's doing, and I still know I'm protected, so I'm okay with that.
Right. Okay. So just kind of spin off just really quick.
Sure.
Do you need to do any spiritual work on, let's just say, a daily basis or before you go into this? Or do you feel like this is just part of who you are?
I have attempted, let's try this. When I first started, I attempted to ground and to get ready for it, but I never felt any different. I'm like, nope, I'm as ready as I'm going to be. This is how it is. I don't take 10 minutes to open up. I don't take 10 minutes to close. And I have had it explained to me by numerous people now. And they said, when that earth elemental, I'm going to reach it back to that earth elemental. And he said, your essence is older than I am. I said, well, how old are you? And he said, I am 15,000 years old and you are older. So when I talk to all the other people that have mentored me, they're like, yeah, you're old. Like, everything that you do is very second nature. That's why you don't have to take the time like other people do to open up and to close. And you don't need to worry about if your protections are up or anything else, because you already know they are because you've been doing it for so long. It's very natural for you.
Right. So it's kind of like maybe the past lives, and I mean, if you want to go into that concept of learning and this and that, and you're
Right.
all the way up to like the top, where someone might be still learning what they needed to learn after the first life. Or is that
Right.
kind of
And
the
that's
okay? So that is
and that's my problem is I don't know what I already know. And I would ask that question. I'm like, okay, great. I'm the master, but I have no clue what I'm doing. And they're like, well, that's our problem too, because you're already your past lives have brought you up to such a level that we don't know how to help you. And I'm like, well, how about just getting my feet underneath me so I know what the hell I'm doing? You know, I mean, great. I'm the master of everything, and I don't know what everything is. You
yeah,
know, and I tell people all the time, there is no way I'm a master of anything. I am a developing whatever. I am
yeah,
all
yeah.
one
I
because
mean,
I don't know jack diddly or squat right now, but it seems like very intuitively I know what needs to be done when I need it.
yeah. Okay. So, I mean, how are you dealing with your regular life and all of this?
That's a regular life. It's nothing really phases me. My wife will tell you that nothing really phases me at all. Um, I it's just another part of life. My when I used to do very bad things to very bad people when I was in the military,
Uh huh.
and it was just daily life. And this is just another part of my daily life. Every once in a
Wow.
while, I don't wear anything. I don't wear stones. I don't wear crystals. I don't wear anything. The only time I might wear something is when I have a copper bracelet. It's a Celtic bracelet that has Tree of Life on it. And
Yeah.
I just like
Sure.
it. I just like it. There's no reason for me to wear it outside if I like it. But there's times when I get up in the morning and all of a sudden I'm like, I need to throw a couple of stones in my pocket. And I don't know why, but I throw them in my pocket. But when I get to work or wherever I'm at, someone needs it for something. So I can take it.
Oh. Oh.
So I can
Okay.
take it out of my pocket. I can charge it. I can give it an intent, and I can give it to that person and
Sure.
say, give this back to me at the end of the day, and let me know how you feel."
Right.
I'll take
Wow.
it, and
That's
they'll be like, "Wow, I was so my anxiety level was so up until you gave me that stone, and for the rest of the day I've been completely calm. How did you do that?"
wow.
So normally what happens when that happens, normally what happens is I go, this stone was not meant for me, it was meant for you. Here's how you cleanse it, here's how you charge it, here's how you use it.
Yeah.
And so I will give them that gift, and then I will explain to them how they're going to use it on a daily basis or whatever else whenever they need it. But for some reason, it's always like a sixth sense, or my spirit guide's telling me, hey, why don't you grab these 3 stones today because someone's going to need them today.
Yeah.
I've done it with bracelets. I've done it with necklaces. And it's just something. And that's another thing is that I can, I can charge bracelet. I mean, I can charge stones. I can give them the intent for the person and give them over, and they work perfectly fine.
Okay. So let me just back up here,
Sure.
just so people know. Stones,
Mm-hmm.
crystals.
Yep.
Okay. I'm going to give an example of that and where they can get them. You can get them on Amazon, or you can get them at a spiritual store. And they have different meanings. So if you go to a metaphysical store, it's great. So
Yes.
that's what he's talking about, like stones and crystals and stuff like that. So that's how you can find these things, okay? Because
Yeah.
you have a tendency to go in so many directions and so fast. It's like someone's going to be on there going, stones? You mean like
Right.
something he found on the ground?
Right. Well, and someone I will explain to you. I grew up in a very religious household. My grandfather was a Pentecostal preacher. And someone said, how can you take what you do now and still be okay with the fact that you were religious? Isn't this like,
What's wrong with that?
right? And a lot of people just, I mean, they think of the paganisms or whatever else. And I'm like, look, I'm like, you have this understanding wrong. I go, and here's how my mind justifies what happens, and I'm perfectly fine with it. This earth was built by Source one that I happen to call God, but other people call by different names.
Sure.
And when the earth was built, all these stones were put into it for a reason.
Right.
We just never knew what they were. But now we're
Right.
learning what they're for.
Yeah, exactly.
He gave them to us. So if it's my job, if I have the right and the ability to understand what those stones are used for, that he gave me to help others, then I'm going to use those to help others.
Right.
There is nothing satanic, paganism, nothing else about it.
No, come on. I mean, if you want to look at a crystal, I mean, they use them in radios and it,
I understand, but I'm just letting you know when people hear about psychics and things and witches and all, their mind flips to a wholly different scenario because
a lot of people think I'm the freaking devil. I mean, I'll tell you, one time I was at the park, right, and I had a sign on the side of my car when I was working with my shaman who passed away, and sign on my car that it said the paranormal extraction or something like that, and they were screaming and yelling at me and calling me the devil, like about 10 of them, and throwing their hands at me and doing all this stuff, and I'm just like putting up my arms going, hey, okay, wow, but this isn't going to stop me from walking my dogs.
Right, exactly. But that's some of the ignorance, and that's what it is.
Oh my God.
It's really just ignorance. It's just a lack of understanding that this is not an evil thing. This is, stones can be used in good, stones are used in good ways, and they're not bad things. And so I have to explain that there's a lot of explaining I have to do to some people that they're ignorant, but they're not rude, and they just ask me, can you tell me more about these? But then there's some people that are like ignorant and they just want to stay ignorant. And you're like, look.
Oh my God, yes.
You need to go somewhere else because I don't need my space.
Yeah, exactly. Right. And, that can happen, quite a bit, believe it or not. I mean, if you say something like, I'm into paranormal, it's immediately like, they think of Zach Bagans, who's so fake, and a fraud, that you just walk around and wanting to get possessed and talk through a stupid box, talk through a stupid box and see it, this and that, they think it's demonic. And, we weren't demonic whatsoever. And, you can bring Christ consciousness into you. You can call it the universe, or, I was Lutheran, like you said, you were Pentecostal, or what was it again?
Yeah, it was Pentecostal, yeah.
Right. Okay. So, you can do those things. And there has been times when I have had to use the black arts. Okay. It's not, and it doesn't have to be for the bad, it can be for the good, too. So that's just kind of been my experience. I don't know why I flipped into that whole direction there,
hey, we're allowed to have squirrel moments, damn it.
Yeah, I'll tell you what. Okay, so what else? Did you want to talk about? Did you want to talk about anything else?
Let me see. So probably one of the coolest things that I do, and this is something I did not know I was doing since I was young, but apparently I've been doing it since I was young. What I feel is one of my greatest abilities is a way to help people is I have an ability to hug somebody, and I can take away whatever their problem is. I can take away their anxiety. I can take away their sadness. I can take away pain a lot of the times.
Wow.
And I tell people it's my Green Mile moment. So if anyone's ever seen the Green Mile and they see large John Coffey where he can actually touch people and get visions and everything else, and he can take people's pains.
Sure.
I have an ability to do that. But if I just give you a normal hug, it's just a normal hug. But if I give you a hug with intent to take something away from you, it totally changes the dynamic, because I will grab a hold of the person. I'm not a small man. So I kind of swallow people when I hug them.
Oh, that's nice. I like those big bear hugs.
Well, you can't really see the chest, but it's a 54-inch chest. So
no, you're just a Yeti in disguise. Come on, you're just a Yeti in disguise here. All right.
Well, a lot of people with my beard call me Harley Santa. But if I give them a hug, I'll wrap them up with intent, and I'll hold on to them, and whatever it is, I feel the person all of a sudden relax, and I feel their shoulders drop, and I'm like, nope, not done yet. So I'll continue to hold them. And all of a sudden, I'll get this really big sigh out of them, and their shoulders will drop again. And when they drop the second time and they take that huge sigh, I can back off of them because I feel everything coming to me.
Right.
And I can back off of them, and they're like, almost like they just woke up from a nap.
Okay, so do you send, is that energy sent down into the earth? Like that's normally
that energy comes
just
into me
and goes down.
No, when I back away, it instantly releases out of me into the air.
Wow, really?
Yes, it is very much. As soon as it hits me, wherever I take it into, it instantly releases.
Wow. Okay.
I don't feel it at all. There's no damage done to me. I don't get tired. I don't get anything.
Wow.
And it's very immediate for me, and it's very immediate for the person on the other side.
Wow.
Who had to deal with it. Because I've had people who have had panic attacks, and I've just given them a hug, and all of a sudden they're just like, wow, that was amazing. I've had people who have been crying uncontrollably, and I've gone up to them, I've given them their hug, and they all of a sudden they stop and they're like, I feel so much at peace. And I've done it to where people who I have a friend of mine, and what she does is she sits with people who are dying that night. Like
oh my God, really?
Yes, and the bad part is she's an empath, and initially she did not know how to stop taking in the pain.
I didn't know there was a job like that.
Yes. Yep, they sit with people who are passing, who have no one else to sit with them during the night.
You mean because they don't have family or anything like that? That's absolutely horrifying.
So she sits with them, so they're comforted by somebody being with them when they pass.
Oh my God.
But she would come in, and she was so sick, and she was so tired and everything else. She actually developed lupus.
Oh my God.
So I got a hold of her, and I gave her a hug, and I held on to her for quite a while. We did it for about a week. And when we were done, she was like, after the first week, she was like, I don't know what you do, but I have no pain when I get up in the morning right now. She goes, I'm not tired, because lupus causes all kinds of joint pain.
Oh yeah, it's horrible.
She said, I don't have that right now. She goes, I'm not tired at all. She goes, it's just, so what I did in turn is I had a bracelet, and I charged a bracelet with the same intent. So when she goes to sit with people, she can wear the bracelet.
Wow.
And she won't take in that energy.
Right.
And then every time she does that, she has to cleanse and charge the bracelet. I showed her how. The
first
time she did it, she said, I sat with that person all night. Normally by the next day, I'm exhausted. I have to sleep like a whole day. And she goes, I was perfectly fine. She goes, I don't know what you did, but this is amazing. So that bracelet became hers, and she's been using it ever since. And she said the results are still the same.
Okay, she's still okay. So you and lupus is better.
Her lupus is better. Yeah.
Okay. All right. That's absolutely amazing.
Now, it's not good, but it's better.
You threw in cleanse and charge. Okay. People are going, what in the hell is he talking about?
Right. So
cleansing would be, for me, I use, you can do it on the full moon, or I use sea salt in water, and actually it has to be plastic or a glass bowl, and put it outside for the sun and moon to go through it 24 hours, and then recharge the crystal with my intent. How are you recharging? How are you charging them?
So I cleanse through me personally, or my crystals.
No, I'm talking about you personally, or what you tell other people. You know, like you need to cleanse this.
When I tell them to cleanse and charge their crystals that I give them, or their instruments that I give them, it's the same way. I tell them, I give them selenite to cleanse it, and then to charge it, I tell them sunlight, moonlight, whatever else.
Sure.
But when it comes to the being themselves, I tell them they have to find their own way, because it's not the same for everybody. I am terrible. I will tell you with as much I do throughout a week, I am the laziest person you will ever meet.
What? You?
I do not meditate. I do not practice. I do not do any of that stuff. And I'm built the way I am, and I've always been built this way. And people tell me, I cannot believe you don't do anything because your aura is so high, your vibration is so high.
Yeah.
That we see the top of your vibration, which throws us off.
Wow.
How do you do that without practice? I'm like, I don't know. This is how I've always been. So, but I do give people the standard recommendations. Take 5 minutes out, meditate. If your thoughts get in your way, just simply tell them now is not your time, and let the thought go away and go back to your meditation. Do it for a minute, do it for 2 minutes.
Right.
Work up to 5 minutes. Do whatever. And I explained to them that meditating is not sitting with your legs crossed.
Thank you.
It can simply be It can simply be listening to your music or turning off your music.
I do a walking meditation
Yeah,
when I'm walking my dogs.
yeah, and it's just letting your mind clear. It's
Yes.
just kind of focusing back to the center of yourself. It doesn't take much to do it. It's not hard to do. You don't have to go out and buy $100 worth of videos and everything else.
No. Oh my
Just
God, no.
it's very short. It's something that you're doing for yourself to simply take that time for yourself.
Yeah, exactly. Right.
That's what a lot of people don't understand. But
Right.
that's what I tell a lot of people to do is, it's taking time for yourself is the best way to explain meditation. If you really, really, really need the help, go out on YouTube, go out on Spotify, go out on anywhere that they have any subscriptions or music, and just
Sure.
simply put in guided meditation. Someone will talk you through how
Yeah,
to do your meditation
yeah,
for you.
exactly. I mean, yeah.
You take all the guesswork out of it.
You're talking about meditation, and I've been into this for 35 years. Holy crud, shit. Or okay, sorry. You know, I'm sorry, but none of that meditation. And I wrote 2 books. Meditation. None of that worked for me, and I put that in my book, and it was way before the time, of mind, body, spirit, and stuff. But I
Right,
was having people like meditate when they were doing the treadmill,
right,
or it couldn't be like lifting a weight or anything, because of course you could hurt yourself. But
right. You
like
got
the
to focus on
treadmill
that.
or an exercise bike, or if you're sitting on the ground, and it could just be movement. You
Right.
don't have to sit. Like all these people now that I even talked to today say, "Oh, I can't do meditation." I'm like, "Well, can you walk?"
Yeah, yeah,
you know, um, and it can be just for 1 minute. It doesn't
yeah.
have to be, like everyone thinks. I don't know who drilled that into their head that
I
they
don't
had
either.
to like sit there and do it for like a half hour or an hour. I don't. Who did that? I have no idea. But that's what
I,
people think it is.
so let me say this. There are commercials out there right now for an app called Calm. And
Yeah.
what they do is they simply tell you to sit silently while they show this ring on the TV and it says sit still for 30 seconds. If you sit there and you watch that and all you do is focus on that and you're not thinking about anything else, you're just like, cool, this is a cool 30 seconds. You have just meditated.
Yeah, that's exactly it. They also have this other one that I just love, where the raindrops fall on the ground.
Yep.
And I don't know how long it's for, actually, to tell you the truth, but I always do it every time I see
Yeah.
it because I love it. And you just watch it. It says, watch the raindrops until the sidewalk gets solid, water on it,
Water. Yeah.
and
Yep.
just breathe
Yep.
the whole time you're doing it. And I counted once, and it was 10 huge deep breaths. But at first, it kind of like, okay, when is this shit going to be over with?
Right. Right.
Because you're looking at the sidewalk and it's not going very fast.
You're
All right.
anticipating the end of it
Yeah.
instead of just enjoying the moment of it.
Yeah. So that's what happened the first time. But the second time and the third or fourth or fifth time, I actually really enjoyed it,
Right.
because I knew what to expect and I knew what the outcome would be,
Right.
which is, and I think it's on Calm too. I think they
Yeah.
have it on there. That I felt so much better just by deep breathing, okay, and watching those raindrops.
Yeah.
It was really
And
cool.
And our big problem is everyone wants the instant gratification or they want it to happen now. Where everyone's in such a rush, they don't. So that's what I'm saying. That first time you watched it, you were like, "When is this going to be over?"
Right.
You were anticipating the end. You weren't enjoying what you were watching.
I know, because I'm
But
so hyper.
then after you realized what the end was going to be like, now you can step back and take the time to enjoy it up until the end.
Yes, because
So,
I
and
know I have to do it because
and
I'm
that's what a lot of
crazy.
people have a hard time doing is they don't understand. Guess what? It's going to come to an end. Enjoy it all the way until the end.
Exactly. But for someone that's really hyper like me and everything else, I'm telling you guys out there, okay? If I can do it, you can do it, okay? And if you do it once and you're looking at the raindrops and you're going, oh my God, please hurry up. Try
Right.
it one more time and just let it be, because it really, So that's my experience with it
Yeah.
all. So
Yeah.
holy criminy. I mean, we talked a lot about a lot of different things today.
We
I,
did. We did.
I mean, whoa, a lot of different things. And you have a lot of great messages. And so everything you needed to know from school book, what was that? Why are all your words so long?
Stuff I never learned from a school book.
All I never learned from a school book.
Oh.
No?
Stuff. Stuff I never learned from a school book.
Okay.
It's 7 words.
I know, and it's your email. And it's your email address too. All right.
2 syllables. This is my phone numbers are only 7, or at the most beforehand they were only 7 numbers, and then they included area codes because people couldn't remember over a certain number of digits.
Oh my gosh. I mean, you know, when I went to put in your email, I'm like, oh my God, okay.
Email just might be, you know, so for anyone who wants to send me messages, you're more than welcome to.
Because it's the same thing at gmail.com, right?
Stuff I never learned at gmail.com.
Yeah.
Always one word. Stuff
cool.
I never learned at gmail.com.
Cool. Yes. Right on. Okay, well, I think we've talked about a lot. My mind is kind of spun out right now. And I hope everybody out there really enjoyed this. And if you don't know his name, and you know, I'm sure you do by now, right? I still don't. Anyways, okay. Well, thanks for watching, everybody, and thank you.
Thank you. Thanks, up.
That was great.